All right, John, thank you for sending in your video. Went ahead and took a look at your swing and just want to first off say very impressed with everything so far. A lot of good things to work with, good timing. Looks like you've been playing for a while, so I've just got a few recommendations that I would make. And first things first, let's go ahead and talk about your setup position. I want to go ahead and kind of show where you're at, just before you want to get engaged with that backswing. So first thing I'm looking at is just the position of your hands on the club. Really good grip, really good grip, really good setup. If anything, it looks like we've got a fairly neutral to strong left arm position, and that right arm is definitely a little bit more over the grip, which is totally fine. Not a bad position to be in. However, I just want you to be aware of the position that you can be in at impact. Obviously, you always want to have your hands nice and forward through impact, and I think that's something that we struggle with at the moment. A little bit of an early release down and through the golf ball. And one thing that I think can help with that is at address, if we have a little bit more of a forward press with the hands. It's going to look like a little bit more of a flatter left arm, right? And a little bit more of a cocked right wrist. So, ideally that's the position we are in at impact, right? Which we are almost, we are there before impact, but man, right at impact, we kind of lose that position. And I hate to see that, because you got such a good swing, and I want to make sure that we build a little bit more of a consistent ball strike. So that's the first thing that I would recommend. And it kind of looks like we get there at takeaway, like right here, right? Like right when we're taking the club away. Awesome position to be in, man. If that was something that we had at the original setup, that would be perfect. Would not change a thing. So speaking on the takeaway just a little bit, so as I get this video started, it looks like our trigger, everybody's got a little bit of a trigger, right? What's getting the swing started? And our trigger seems to be something from the upper body, if I had to take a guess. Right, look at that upper body weight shift to the right side of our body. A little concern, and I'll tell you why. My biggest concern, I'll get right to the start there, and I'm going to draw a circle right around your neck, kind of like right below your chin. And that is what we call our swing center. And it is what I use to identify a sway, something, where players kind of get out of position, they sway to the right and sway back to the left, right? And looks like that's something we might be suffering from. It looks like our first move, in fact, and you can see our right cheek kind of get out of the circle there. So we know we're a little out of our center, and then you do a great job of kind of getting back there, right? Now we're back into it, and then we kind of keep it there through impact, and bam. So really good recovery. However, if we're not able to recover, if we don't recover, maybe we're a little late with it, maybe a little too early with it, that'll create some inconsistent shots. And, that's something that we can easily fix, or at least build a little bit more consistency if we keep that swing center, in a little bit more quieter, I guess you could say, or kind of in that position and not out of that position. So that is definitely one thing I would work on. So first thing, a little bit more of a forward press, right? And then, once we get that swing started, let's try to keep that swing center a little bit more quiet. And so we're taking the club away. Love some of the first moves of that takeaway. It looks like your shoulders are getting that chest rotated, arms are following, and, hands are getting the club nice out and around. So I'm going to get rid of that circle there right now, and let's take a look at these shoulders. So love the shoulders. I'm a big guy. I'm a big shoulders guy. It's our bigger muscles in the swing, so we need to make sure that those are in the right positions and staying connected to busy swing. I don't think we have a real connection issue. However, the position of our right shoulders, I think it's kind of starts right there. Everything is good until then, and I am looking at that right and left shoulder. So I'm going to use two different colors. I'm going to use the red for your left shoulder and arm line. I'm going to do a little better job there. I'm going to draw an arrow down into, if you were swinging the club to your left. I'm sorry, to your right actually. So we're actually looking for a little bit more of a drive down with the left shoulder, right? Down and around with the left shoulder. And then I'm going to use some blue lines for the right. And this one's really important. That right shoulder to me is very, very important. We're going to see a lot of good players with a lower left shoulder and a higher right shoulder. That's actually going to look like it's going to want to go up, right? And then it's going to want to go around in this direction. So a lot of lines going on there right now, but I'll try to clean that up. Our shoulders are actually kind of getting a little flat, and we have some extension in our spine, but we don't really have too much extension in our lower body here. Plenty of extension in our spine, but none going on in the lower body. I'd really like to get that lower body involved, and I think if we get a little bit of a higher right shoulder, let's get all the way to the top. And I think we can get a little bit further than that, John, and that's going to come from a little bit of a drive upwards with our right knee, right? I can still see a little flex in there. Maybe we can get that a little bit more extended. Maybe get our hips a little bit more extended, right? And then get that right shoulder up. Like this is all coming from the right side, right? We're trying to rotate. We're trying to get a little bit more swing width, right? And that's going to come from, I think you do a great job of getting some pressure over to our right side, except we're keeping it too low. So let's take a look at the swing, and it almost kind of looks like, I'm going to go back to red, and it looks like we're kind of driving down in this direction with the start of the swing, and it just never kind of gets out of that. At least the lower body doesn't. It just wants to continue to go down until we get to the top, and then we find some extension. What I'm going to ask you, John, is to kind of find that extension a little bit earlier in the swing, right? So instead of going down in this direction, let's go back to my blue and let's go up in this direction, right? Let's get that shoulder nice and higher. Let's get that nice and a little bit more extension with that right shoulder, and we can kind of feel like our left shoulder is helping do that by getting a little bit more rotation. Well, actually, I think at the top of the swing, if we look at some tour players, we can kind of see that their back, or at least a portion of their left back, their lower back is, can peek to the golf ball. I don't think your back has too much of a chance to do that at that position. And what this shoulder tilt is going to do in our swing is that's going to be able to get that club a little bit higher at the top of the swing. Right? Left shoulder low, right shoulder high. We're getting that out and around, right? But really what's happening is our hands are getting a little bit higher by doing that. They're not getting behind our body. It's helping getting that hand position a little bit higher. It's going to get our club a little bit higher as well. And I see, you mentioned that in the text that you sent me, that you have a little bit of a breakage in the left arm. Definitely do. John, if we get that left shoulder a little bit lower, like I said, I'm going to really, really, really try to harp on this a little bit. Left shoulder down, right shoulder high. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a higher position at the top of the swing. I think that should eliminate that breakage there. But if we work on that, that's actually a really simple drill. Just go ahead and take a club, put it across your shoulders, and just, make sure that club, once you've started the backswing, is pointed at the ground, not the wall, or not the sky, or anything on the horizon, but more towards the ground. And the same thing on the follow through. About right here, where's our hip line? Or I'm sorry, not our hip line, but our shoulder line. If you had a club, going across your body, you really want to drive that club down and around, right? Just like you do there, but that's after impact. It's essentially useless there. We need to get that more engaged. Boom, right there. Let's get that right shoulder, after we've gotten it nice and high in this tall position, extended position. I love the word extended. And that extension's coming from the lower body there. Once we've done that, we're able to drop that right shoulder down. And let me get my lines back here. Down, right? And that essentially that left shoulder is going to go around, right? Up and around. Excellent. So right shoulder, this is, let's go back to the back swing. Left shoulder low is really what I want to see. Right shoulder high. And then, we've got the club higher. We should have it higher in this position. That left arm isn't breaking down. And then once we've started this downswing, same thing, obviously one more time, I want to see extension here. On that downswing, we've got a nice high right shoulder, nice low left shoulder. Let's go and get that left shoulder out of the way. Let's start to drive that back and up. Then change color. Let's go back to that right shoulder. At this point, we really want to see that right shoulder in this position, nice and down, really down here. And then, once we've kind of gotten past parallel, around. And John, man, I'm really excited because I think that's going to be huge for your swing. Really, really huge. So let's go back to the beginning. John, if we can see a little bit more of a forward press with that set there, that setup position. A little bit more of a cocked right wrist, flat left wrist, and then let's get our swing engaged, not with our upper body, but maybe more with our lower body, or maybe with our shoulders, something lower than our neck, ideally. So shoulders would be the neck, so that'd be a great feeling for you. But let's get the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Let's get all of those kind of going first, not the neckline there, right? Not the swing center. We want to keep that nice and quiet. So, and then once we've essentially gotten to where the club is past parallel, let's feel like that left shoulder is dropping. That right shoulder is going nice and high, and that left shoulder is dropping, going low. Getting that club nice and high in the air. And this is really everything I'm telling you right now is to help get you in a better position at the top. So we don't have this early release. I've noticed that you've struggled with this early release for a long time now, and it could be derivative from some other issues, and this is something I know you're very aware of. So one thing I would also incorporate into your swing is is ball position. I take a look at this ball position, and if I had to guess, you're set up for some sort of a low draw is what you're kind of looking for, and which is fine. We can still get a low draw, or at least a draw if we move that ball a little bit more forward in our stance. Forward ball position, if I was to draw a line kind of where the ball is, that's fairly accurate. That's dead center. If I had to guess, you probably have a mid iron or maybe some short iron in your hand. Ideally, we would see that ball position just a touch more, maybe one ball, an entire golf ball, a little bit more forward in your stance. And that I think is going to help. If we get that club, the club is going to be the yellow line, and that lever system will be the yellow line here. I'd rather see a lever system that's more like that. Bam, bam, and not so cocked in the other direction. And this isn't for all players, but I think for your sake, with your strong grip and your very your flat right arm as well, this flat right arm here, I think a forward press would be ideal for your setup. That way we can get a little bit more of a cock in that right arm, because like I said beginning of the video, that's where we want to be at impact. Not that, but we want to have a nice cocked right arm. We want to have a nice flat left wrist through impact, and that's just not what we're able to do right now. So back to it. Back to that shoulders. What I was looking for. Once we've gotten to this position where we feel like we're driving our right shoulder through, and it's behind at this point. I'm just gonna be honest. It should be a lot lower and through the golf ball, and your left shoulder should be a little bit more behind you at this point. What should happen is actually, your release point is right here, maybe. I'm looking for the sharpest angle, probably about right there. So, there's the shaft, there's your left arm. And you notice how the left arm isn't broken anymore. You're an excellent recovery player. You've gotten that left arm back to straight. So that's definitely not our problem, right? It breaks after though, so there is an issue somewhere. So there's the release, and at this point, we're just losing angles, right? So now there's our angle, right? And there's an even wider angle there, right? And we really want to kind of see the opposite, right? We want to see, a wider angle here, and then a tighter angle here, and then an even tighter angle here, right? That's what I would call a late release, right? A delayed release. So once again, if we're able to drive that right shoulder through, keep that left arm a little bit more quieter. Don't force down, but actually force up, down with the right and then up with the left. I feel like that should help keep a little bit more of a lag position for you, and essentially fix that early release, that casting issue that we're having. So either way, John, looking forward to seeing your swing after you've tried these recommendations. I think you're really going to benefit from serious improvements just with these little fixes. Little early forward press, right? Try to keep that forward press as we take the club away. We're taking the club away with our bigger muscles, right? Our shoulders, right? We're rocking the shoulders. We're getting the arms engaged. We're quieting our neck. Trying to keep that centeredness. And then, as we've gotten to past parallel with the ground, we're able to essentially get the left shoulder lower, right shoulder higher. Right shoulder's going up and back, left shoulder's going down and back. And then, once we've gotten set at the top of the swing, this is where we can fix our issue and, really drive that right shoulder down and, not early release. That right shoulder really should be down at this point, and that left shoulder should be working back. Damn. Yeah, let's call that a late release or a delay release. Delay the release. And that's the feeling that we should be having. So, just one more little bonus tip. This left side of our body here. It looks like it is doing a good job of going up after impact, right? But it's just not going around. It's kind of shifting towards the target. So if we can maybe, look for, I'm going to say this word again, extension from that lower body, really push up with that lower body, that left knee maybe, which you do, it's there. It's just after impact. And it's, something that I saw, in the takeaway as well. We're kind of limited in the amount of extension that we're creating from our lower body. And, we're seeing the same thing on the downswing, just a limitation or limits on our extension on our left side as well. So that's just one thing that I would also take a look at, kind of experimenting with. So either way, looking forward to seeing your swing after you've gotten these involved, and make sure to take some videos after you're done and send those over to me. Love to make sure that we get another lesson in and see your improvement. So good luck, John. Thank you for sending these videos in, and look forward to seeing these improvements.